Welcome to Novel Love Hearing. We bring you hundreds of novel audiobooks covering every genre and every kind of story you can imagine. Action? We've got it. Adventure? Absolutely. Horror? Of course. Whether it's the legendary Uchiha Massacre or outrageous tales like stealing Naruto's and Sasuke's women, you'll find it here. From epic series like One Piece, Bleach, Fairy Tail, and Hunter x Hunter, to countless other adventures, our library has it all. Love novels but don't have time to read? No worries, just plug in your earbuds, sit back, and let the story take over. Good listening, and happy hearing. Mr. Liang, Captain Zhao Kai and the others went upstairs to find the person who killed someone. Everyone was very angry and went to settle accounts with him. Many people here choked on water, and some elders couldn't climb, so they stayed here to rest temporarily. Liang Yuan understood and said, "You all continue to rest. I'll go upstairs to check." Lu Deu immediately said, "Mr. Liang, I'm already fine. I'll go with you." As he spoke, he pulled his daughter Lu Yuan along. Liang Yuan glanced at him and Lu Yuan, saying, "You stay and take care of your daughter. Don't worry about the situation you upstairs." Lu Deu shook his head, "I'll go with you. Last time, that little bastard Sun Tzu bullied my daughter, and you helped me. I must repay you." Liang Yuan was helpless. This man was sometimes too stubborn. He could only nod and say, "Then follow us." Saying that, he turned quickly to go upstairs with Gu Feng. Gu Feng couldn't help but say, "Brother Liang, the killer in Hanglong building definitely isn't a good person. He's deliberately killing people to attract mutant creatures, forcing us inside. This won't end well." Liang Yuan nodded and said in a low voice, "So we need to be careful. Gu Feng, how is your superpower recovery?" "I'm almost there." Gu Feng quickly replied. "Cover us in your smoke. Let's be cautious." "Okay." Gu Feng quickly opened his mouth and blew out a white mist. This mist covered the four of them, making even spiritual power unable to detect them. Liang Yuan turned off the flashlight, and the group quickly went upstairs. After climbing less than 4 floors, they heard chanting sounds from above. Liang Yuan couldn't help but pause his steps. Gu Feng couldn't help but say, "What is that sound?" Liang Yuan made a shushing gesture. The sound was like singing, like music, seeming both real and unreal. Liang Yuan could feel there was spiritual power contained in the sound. Chapter 161, The Singing Woman 2. He took out 2 cotton balls and handed them to Gu Feng and Lu Deu, signaling them to plug their ears. The two quickly did as they were told. Liang Yuan also stuffed 2 cotton balls into his own ears, sealing off his hearing. As for Lu Deu's daughter, Lu Yuan, since she was deaf, there was no need. The 4 of them made their preparations and then walked towards the safety exit. However, the safety exit door was already open. Liang Yuan looked outside and couldn't help frowning. He saw Zhao Kai, Ding Yan, and others standing in the corridor, everyone gathered at the entrance of a shop. Everyone's face had smiles, as if enchanted by the singing. Liang Yuan noticed that the singing was coming from the shop. His spiritual power scanned the shop and immediately sensed something amiss. The whole shop was wrapped in a powerful spiritual force field. With the strength of his spiritual power, he couldn't penetrate it. The spiritual force field continuously emitted strange music, drawing people in. Gu Feng and others had their ears plugged, so they couldn't hear it. Naturally, they didn't know what was happening. But seeing Zhao Kai and others standing there with strange expressions, they felt a bit scared too. Liang Yuan glanced around and saw dozens of people gathered at the entrance of the shop. But Dong Yan, Liu Feifei, Song Wen, and the others were nowhere to be seen. Even Elder Lin, Yang Shenmen, and others weren't there. Liang Yuan frowned as he slowly approached the crowd, soon contacting the one on the outermost side. He reached out and patted him, but the person was completely entranced by the music and didn't react at all. Liang Yuan's gaze darkened as he followed the person's gaze into the shop. Inside, there was a girl in a white dress, sitting in the shop with a black microphone beside her, softly singing. With her singing, people around her were unknowingly drawn in. Her hair was very long and scattered, covering her face and making her features indistinguishable. The white dress was tattered, with obvious signs of being torn. Her frail frame sat on a chair, obscuring her lower body from view. Liang Yuan looked up to see the shop's name, Love Satiates. The shop's surroundings were decorated with tapes, posters, and records, all musical elements. Near the wall, there was a small stage. The girl was sitting on a chair behind the piano on the stage. What's up with this girl? Is she the accomplice of the killer? Liang Yuan was shocked and puzzled. Why was this woman trapping everyone? While he was wondering, Gu Feng suddenly moved beside him. Liang Yuan was startled and quickly turned to grab him. He saw Gu Feng's vacant expression, just like Ding Yan and Zhao Kai, with a strange smile, moving towards the shop. No, he's affected by the music. Liang Yuan's heart sank. He immediately looked at Lu Dao and his daughter. They too showed signs of fascination. Liang Yuan's scalp tingled. Blocking ears is useless. This music interferes with everyone through spiritual power. Wait, why am I not affected? His heart skipped a beat, then he quickly understood. Ah, it's because my spiritual power is strong enough to resist this musical interference. Without a second thought, he pushed through the crowd to grab Zhao Kai and Ding Yan with the intention of dragging them out first. But as soon as he grabbed them, they suddenly revealed ferocious expressions, turning to attack Liang Yuan. Zhao Kai swung his fist, releasing frost superpower, transforming into frost mist that engulfed Liang Yuan. Liang Yuan had already been soaked in water, making him wet. Under the frost mist, his clothes instantly froze. Liang Yuan's face changed dramatically. Zhao Kai. He roared, unhesitatingly activating Spirit Shock. Buzz. The Spirit Shock, like a sharp blade, smashed into Zhao Kai's mind. Zhao Kai's spirit trembled, interrupting his frost superpower. Simultaneously, his expression turned bewildered. Next moment, he showed anger. Seeing Liang Yuan, he shouted, "Brother Liang, hurry!" Before he could finish, his head spun again. The music penetrated his mind, manipulating his sea of consciousness. On Ding Yan's side, the air cannon fist crashed towards Liang Yuan. Liang Yuan's body shifted slightly, dodging the punch and swiftly countered with a knife hand. Bang! With immense power, his knife hand struck Ding Yan's neck. Ding Yan's eyes froze, then his body went limp, collapsing to the ground. Liang Yuan wasted no time, repeating the same technique, a knife hand on Zhao Kai's neck. With his muscle burst, skill doubling his strength to nearly 30 points, neither Zhao Kai nor Ding Yan could withstand his strike. As they were knocked out, Liang Yuan grabbed them and swiftly retreated. He didn't forget to kick Gu Feng in the back of the head. Gu Feng staggered and fell unconscious on the spot. Liang Yuan picked up Gu Feng and retreated quickly. Losing 3 listeners in succession, the girl in the shop suddenly raised her head. Among her black hair, red eyes scanned the surroundings. Liang Yuan's heart pounded wildly, as if countless needle points stabbed at him. His spirit boiled like water. She's attacking me with spiritual power. Liang Yuan was shocked and enraged, only feeling dizzy and in excruciating pain. Chapter 161, The Singing Woman 3. The sensation was like being struck by countless times of spiritual shock. He couldn't help but roar out, "Get lost!" Spiritual power rolled over him, releasing a spiritual shock. Buzz. The spiritual shock fiercely repelled those terrifying needle-like spiritual attacks. He hurriedly retreated. But those spiritual spikes attacked again in an instant. Liang Yuan once again felt his mind foggy, his brain heavy and in sharp pain. He was shocked and angry. No, this is not a normal mutant ability user. He took a deep breath and quickly opened the system panel. System, allocate free attribute points, increase my spirit attribute. Ding, your spirit attribute points +1. As the free attribute points were allocated to the spirit attribute, Liang Yuan suddenly felt a cool sensation in his brain, and the needle-like feeling rapidly receded. However, this retreat was only momentary, then a more intense spiritual spike attack came. The opponent increased the attack intensity. Liang Yuan was shocked internally, her spiritual power is so strong. System, continue to add points. Ding, your spirit attribute +1. The next moment, Liang Yuan felt his spirit attribute break through again, reaching 24.2. But it was still not enough. The intensity of the opponent's spiritual power was still above his. Continue. Ding, your spirit attribute +1. Continue. Ding, your spirit attribute +1. When Liang Yuan's spirit attribute broke through to 26.2, the sensation of needles in the back instantly disappeared. The opponent's spiritual spikes could no longer shake his sea of consciousness. All the foggy thoughts and sharp pains vanished completely. Liang Yuan breathed a sigh of relief. My spiritual attribute has surpassed the opponent's. He had added a total of 4 free attribute points to the spirit attribute, finally suppressing the opponent's spiritual attack. He grabbed Zhao Kai, Ding Yan, and Gu Feng and quickly retreated down the corridor, swiftly heading downstairs. Upon reaching the lower level, he felt they had escaped the range of the opponent's spiritual attack, and only then did he stop. Liang Yuan immediately slapped Zhao Kai and Gu Feng's cheeks, pressing their acupuncture points. Finally, he woke them up. Zhao Kai opened his eyes and immediately shouted, "Run, all of you run brother Liang." Liang Yuan pressed his excited arm and said in a deep voice, "Don't be excited, tell me what happened." Zhao Kai's eyes reddened instantly, "Brother Liang, you're alright, you're alright, I thought you got caught by that octopus monster. I'm back, quickly tell me, who is the woman singing upstairs, and what happened, why is she targeting you?" Upon hearing this, Zhao Kai immediately regained his senses and quickly said, "Brother Liang, you don't know, after climbing into Hanglong building through the broken window, Sister Ding, Elder Lin, and Dr. Yang quickly started rescuing people. After getting everyone up, we found several people dead, and everyone was furious. We immediately decided to go upstairs to seek revenge on the perpetrator. When we reached the third floor, some people were exhausted and stayed downstairs to rest. The few of us superpower users went up looking for people, but unexpectedly ran into that mysterious woman. At first, we thought she was from Hanglong building, so we went up to ask her. Who knew she wasn't a normal person at all? Not a normal person." Liang Yuan was shocked and hurriedly asked. Zhao Kai said, "Brother Liang, remember Wang Yanmai? She didn't survive the mutant awakening and became a monster, just like her. When you see her, she actually doesn't have a lower body. Her lower body is fused with the shop and can instantly appear anywhere in the shop. Also, she sings a strange song. After we heard the song, we didn't know anything anymore. Before I lost consciousness, I saw Dong Yan and Liu Fei holding their heads, seemingly still conscious. They dragged Sister Mai, Elder Lin, and several others away, not knowing where they went." After quickly explaining the situation, Liang Yuan finally understood what had happened. The woman upstairs was not a normal mutant ability user but a monster that had failed its mutation. No wonder her spiritual power intensity was so high. Generally speaking, the human monster after a failed mutation evolves faster than those who succeed in mutation. It seems that they have handed everything over to the instinctive control of evolution. Liang Yuan's spiritual power and other attributes, among normally awakened superpower users, were undoubtedly at the top. The only threats to him were the countless mutant monsters in the flood and these failed mutation humans. These failed mutation creatures, like cancer cells, grow frantically, evolve frantically, and are ridiculously powerful. They no longer belong to humans. They are real monsters. Liang Yuan's expression became solemn. He immediately said to Gu Feng and Zhao Kai, "Take care of Ding Yan, wait here for me, I will go get the others out." Zhao Kai quickly said, "Brother Liang, be careful, that monster is peculiar, her song has the power to allure the mind." Liang Yuan nodded, "I know, that woman failed her mutation, it's spirit class, your spiritual power isn't strong enough, so you are easily bewitched by her voice. I have a way to deal with her. Be careful, we'll be here to assist you." Liang Yuan nodded and swiftly returned upstairs. As soon as he entered the corridor, the humming voice immediately sounded. Liang Yuan's heart skipped a beat. This creature's voice shifted, it couldn't reach here earlier. It's seeking me out? Without a second thought, Liang Yuan immediately took out a shell from the item bar. He placed the shell on his forehead and subsequently let his spiritual power surge and infuse into the shell. Buzz. The shell instantly lit up a mysterious rune, followed by his spiritual power rapidly forming a turtle shell-like shield through the gaps in the shell. This turtle shell contained the rune with spiritual defense skills. After countless explorations and imitations, though Liang Yuan hadn't directly mastered the spiritual defense rune on the turtle shell, he found a novel application method. He discovered that injecting spiritual power into the turtle shell could activate the intricate patterns on the shell, forming the spiritual defense turtle shell. It's the simplest and fastest way to utilize the turtle shell. Sure enough, with the activation of the runes on the turtle shell, the spiritual defense barrier opened, and the eerie humming sounds around him immediately vanished like a turned-off radio, plunging the surroundings into silence in an instant. Chapter 162, Killing the Spiritually Mutated Woman. Unexpected gains. Liang Yuan's spiritual power, after allocating 4 free attribute points just now, was able to resist this eerie chanting. With the turtle shell defense now, it was like giving wings to a tiger, and his spiritual defense increased significantly. He took advantage of the turtle shell defense and immediately ran towards the entrance of the Love Satiates store. He then quickly grabbed Granny Li, Kai's Old Ma, and others, and quickly retreated. Kai's and Old Ma were forcibly taken away by Liang Yuan and immediately showed signs of anger, turning around to fight Liang Yuan. All 3 were just ordinary people, there was no way they could be a match for Liang Yuan. Liang Yuan lightly pinched their necks, instantly causing the 3 to faint. He sent them downstairs and then returned. This time he got smarter, grabbing people one by one was too troublesome. He simply knocked everyone out at once. This way, they wouldn't resist at all. In one go, he ran back and forth 3 or 4 times, having rescued about a dozen people. This move undoubtedly infuriated the women inside the store. The woman with a face full of hair suddenly turned around and screamed at Liang Yuan. The sound was almost tangible, generating waves of sound. The frenzied spiritual power surged like countless sharp spikes. Boom, boom, boom. Liang Yuan immediately felt the turtle shell constantly thumping. The other party was attacking his sea of consciousness. Without hesitation, he picked up an aluminum alloy rod and threw it with force. "Scream at your mother," Liang Yuan roared. Woo! The aluminum alloy rod instantly tore through the air and shot towards the woman in the white dress. The woman's figure suddenly vanished into thin air. With a bang, Liang Yuan's aluminum alloy rod pierced through the stage floor. Wood chips flew, and the piano's strings reverberated chaotically. But Liang Yuan did not see the woman's figure, and his heart skipped a beat, becoming instantly alert. Failed spiritual power mutation. How can she still be so fast? He grabbed the people on the ground and wanted to retreat. Suddenly, the left side wall of the store twisted, and a grotesque face suddenly emerged from inside the wall. Then, half of the body climbed out, holding a microphone. The woman brought the microphone to her mouth and screamed at Liang Yuan. In an instant, all the instruments in the store vibrated, producing various chaotic sounds. The sound waves surged, and Liang Yuan felt the turtle shell defense tremble violently, like countless raindrops hitting the turtle shell. Crack, crack, crack. The spiritual power defense shield of the turtle shell instantly cracked with countless fissures. Liang Yuan's face changed dramatically, and he retreated in a hurry. With several owners in tow, he ran back furiously. The woman crawled out of the store, her white dress and black hair twisted and flying, moving without wind. Her crimson eyes glared at Liang Yuan, screaming incessantly. But she seemed unable to leave, apparently only able to reach the store's entrance. However, her spiritual power and voice swept towards Liang Yuan through the store at high speed. Fortunately, this power weakened continuously with distance. Liang Yuan quickly returned to the safe passage and felt a gust of wind blow past. The sound waves passed by like a tide, dissipating at the entrance. Liang Yuan couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief. "Brother Liang, are you alright?" Zhao Kai and Gu Feng urgently approached. Liang Yuan shook his head, put down the rescued owners, and said in a deep voice, "This monster seems unable to leave that store. Its spiritual attacks can only occur within about 100 meters of the store's vicinity. This emergency exit is in a relatively peripheral area, so make sure not to go upstairs and show yourselves. It's easy to be attacked by her spiritual chanting." Zhao Kai and Gu Feng nodded hurriedly. "Brother Liang, how many people are left?" "There are still about 20 people left. I'll go up a few more times, and that should be about it, but before that, I need to rest for a bit." Liang Yuan sat down, removing the turtle shell from his forehead. He looked at the turtle shell and couldn't help but frown. Numerous tiny cracks had appeared on it. That monster seems to be integrated with that store and can appear anywhere inside it arbitrarily. There are a lot of musical instruments in the store, which seem to aid her attacks. He thought for a long time, still finding no solution. That store was clearly the monster's home turf, and in the opponent's home territory, even he had to retreat strategically. His thoughts then shifted to another issue: can I burn that store down, killing the monster in the process? The idea came and went quickly. There were still many owners trapped at the store entrance, controlled by the monster's spirit attacks. If he burned the store down, those people wouldn't escape. It completely contradicted his initial intent of saving lives. It made no sense. Plus, once the fire started, it would be beyond his control. If the whole Hanglong building caught fire, not to mention whether there were any innocent survivors left, all the supplies inside would be wasted. After resting for a moment, Liang Yuan felt his spiritual power somewhat restored. He put on the turtle shell again, activating his spiritual defense. He then briefly instructed Zhao Kai and Gu Feng before heading upstairs once more. Just as he went up, his expression suddenly changed. At the entrance of the Love Satiates store, half of the remaining 20+ people had entered the store. Liang Yuan felt something was wrong. This change was definitely not a good sign. He did not rush in but observed from nearby. He saw the woman in white climbing onto the ceiling, her black hair hanging down, and the white hem of her dress drooping. Her lower body was stuck into the ceiling, her two long, slender white legs exposed. Chapter 162, Killing the Spiritually Mutated Woman. Unexpected gains to this mutated spiritual creature, when alive, must have been a very beautiful woman. But at this moment, she looked extremely eerie and terrifying. Her hair coiled around the resident, and with a snap, it crushed the resident's skull. The hair constantly infiltrated into the resident's head. The resident's whole body trembled, as if he was getting excited, and soon his head began to shrivel. With a thud, the woman retracted her hair, and the resident immediately fell to the ground. Like a sucked dry fruit wrapper, casually discarded to the side. Liang Yuan took a cold breath. This monster was actually consuming human brains. This beast. Liang Yuan's eyes flashed with shock and anger, but the shop was too bizarre, even he didn't want to step into it lightly. At this moment, half of the 20 or so people had already entered the shop. Rescue those standing outside first. Liang Yuan didn't say much, immediately finding a rope in the item bar. From a dozen meters away, he directly looped the rope. With a swish, it encircled two people. Then with a strong pull, he instantly dragged the two out. Despite his caution, he still startled the mutated woman inside the shop. She jerked her head up and instantly vanished from the ceiling. When she reappeared, she was already at the shop door, and she opened her mouth fiercely towards Liang Yuan. Ah! A sharp scream burst out instantly. Liang Yuan immediately activated the turtle shell. In a flash, the spiritual power defense was up. Boom, boom. Continuous spiritual power pinpricks attacked. Liang Yuan gritted his teeth, this time not retreating at all. Grabbing a long aluminum alloy rod, he aggressively shot it out. Whoosh! The rod pierced the air with a whimpering sound. The woman's scream stopped abruptly, disappearing in an instant. When she reappeared, she had already run back inside. Liang Yuan flung the rope again, pulling back two more residents. The woman screamed in fury, constantly launching psychic spike attacks inside the house. The sound waves were like a tide, terrifying like hell, with ghostly wails and wolf howls. Liang Yuan felt the turtle shell rapidly cracking. He didn't dare to hesitate, continuously flicking the rope, several times in succession, rescuing more than a dozen people out of the shop. As for the remaining people, he didn't have time to care for them. Because the turtle shell couldn't hold up much longer. He urgently pulled up the people on the ground and quickly retreated. Along the way, they knocked around, dragged by the rope, bumping into each other, but fortunately, they returned safely to the stairwell. Liang Yuan, are you alright? Ding Yan had already awakened and hurried to check on Liang Yuan. Liang Yuan quickly said, I'm fine, there are still a few people left, brought into the shop by that monster, it will be difficult to rescue them. Ding Yan said, you have already done your best. If it weren't for you, we would all have died at the hands of that monster. Mentioning the female monster, Ding Yan felt a bit frightened. At this moment, the people on the ground gradually woke up. Kai's, Old Ma, Granny Li, Sister Wu, Kai Yao, and others were all present. Even the patrol team's few captains were there. Liang Yuan couldn't help but let out a sigh of relief. These people were his train team, nothing could happen to them. After going to Yangshan, they would need to rely on these people to fight. Liang Yuan looked around and said, I just thought of a way, I will go up one last time, but this is probably the last time. His turtle shell could withstand that monster's attack at most one more time. This time, I will not bring them to this floor, I will directly throw them into the flood downstairs. Ding Yan, Zhao Kei, you take a few good swimmers and go into the water to receive them. They have been knocked unconscious by me, if they are not retrieved, they will drown. Zhao Kai immediately said, Brother Liang, leave it to us. Ding Yan also nodded solemnly. Liang Yuan didn't say more, okay, you go downstairs and prepare first, I will act in 2 minutes. He couldn't delay any longer, that monster had already started consuming human brains. He didn't know why it was eating human brains. Could it be that consuming human brains could enhance its spiritual power? No matter the reason, he had to speed up. After making arrangements on both sides, Liang Yuan went upstairs again. However, this time, Liang Yuan had Gufeng exhale smoke in advance, covering himself for camouflage. Of course, Gufeng certainly couldn't enter the corridor. With his spiritual power, one encounter with the monster would probably destroy his sea of consciousness. Alright, Gufeng, you stay here. Mr. Liang, please be careful. Liang Yuan nodded, walked out of the corridor, enveloped in smoke, and proceeded towards the shop. Again activating the turtle shell defense, Liang Yuan took a deep breath and looked at the love-satiate's shop. In just this short while, the monster had sucked dry the brains of 4 more people. Only 5 people were left. Liang Yuan glanced around, this time, he didn't rescue people first but took out an aluminum alloy rod. He kept his eyes fixed on the female monster on the ceiling. One more try, hopefully killing her, if not, rescue the people first. Liang Yuan gripped the steel rod, and in the next moment, muscle burst was activated. Instantly his muscles exploded like an eruption, power surged. Hey! He swung his arm fiercely, growling low, and threw the aluminum alloy rod. Whoosh! The terrifying sound of the rod dripping through the air, emitting a sharp roar. The female monster inside the shop sensed something, hurrying to burrow into the ceiling. But this time, the power Liang Yuan exerted and the speed was too fast. With a puff, the aluminum alloy rod pierced through one of the female monster's arms. Most of her body had already crawled into the ceiling, but this arm hadn't withdrawn in time. Chapter 162, Killing the Spiritually Mutated Woman, Unexpected Gains 3. The female monster let out a heartrending scream, struggling madly. The aluminum alloy rod was firmly embedded in the cement of the ceiling, with Liang Yuan's terrifying strength, nearly half of it had penetrated. The female monster's spiritual power was strong, but her physical strength was evidently not as strong as Liang Yuan's, so despite trying hard to pull it out, she couldn't. Liang Yuan's eyes lit up instantly, filled with joy. Good. He dashed out of the mist, holding several more aluminum alloy rods in his hand. As he kept throwing them, the aluminum alloy rods shot out with force. Thud thud thud. The woman was pinned to the ceiling and became a stationary target in an instant, pierced by 3 aluminum alloy rods in a flash. Her heart-rending screams kept emanating as her spiritual power crazily stabbed at Liang Yuan. Liang Yuan's eyes turned red too, refusing to retreat even if it meant death. He knew this was his best chance to kill the enemy. Die! Liang Yuan roared in fury, pulling out several more aluminum alloy rods. Woo-oo-oo. The aluminum alloy rods were thrown out, making incessant whimpering sounds. The ceiling exploded, and clouds of dust cascaded down. The light tubes shattered, falling down. At this juncture, the female monster seemed to realize the dire threat to her life. She stopped trying to pull out the aluminum alloy rods and screamed desperately at Liang Yuan. Her terrifying spiritual power spikes surged like a tide. Thud 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 sounds echoed crazily, like rain beating on banana leaves, furiously bombarding the turtle shell. Finally, with a crack, the turtle shell could no longer bear the strain and shattered instantly. In the next moment, Liang Yuan felt countless spikes piercing his brain, causing excruciating pain. He couldn't help but let out a painful howl. His eyes turned blood red, filled with blood vessels. Fuck. Liang Yuan roared and cursed, grabbing over a dozen aluminum alloy rods and madly shooting them at the ceiling. Thud thud thud. Instantly, the ceiling turned into a sieve, pierced by the aluminum alloy rods. The mutated woman screamed continuously, finally silenced as a steel rod shot into her head. Suddenly, the surroundings fell silent, and the terrifying spiritual power spikes vanished into thin air. Liang Yuan collapsed to the ground with a thud, only feeling his head pounding with pain. His temples throbbed incessantly, as if his brain was about to jump out. He gasped heavily, enduring the pain, gritting his teeth to open his panel. Allocate free attributes, add points to spirit attribute. Ding, your spirit attribute +1. A cool energy surged into his brain. The wounded sea of consciousness immediately came to life again, absorbing the energy and recovering rapidly. Liang Yuan let out a comfortable groan, finally shedding the previous agony. He sat up, looking towards the love-satiate's shop. The woman had been completely pinned to the ceiling. She had become a sieve, with a large amount of blood streaming from the wounds ripped by the aluminum alloy rods, dripping onto the floor. The few survivors inside the shop opened their eyes dazedly. One of them seemed to realize something, and let out a piercing scream. Help, help. There are monsters, monsters. Listening to the screams, Liang Yuan felt an onset of headache as if experiencing post-traumatic stress. He immediately shouted, "Shut up." The people froze, looking at Liang Yuan, then immediately became ecstatic. "Mr. Liang, it's Mr. Liang. Mr. Liang, why are you here?" "Oh, Mr. Liang came to save us." The few people exclaimed joyfully. Liang Yuan shouted, "You leave here first, head over there, everyone is in the hallway, I'll handle this mutated female monster." The crowd finally noticed the female monster on the ceiling. Her gruesome appearance scared them pale, and they hurriedly fled the shop. Following Liang Yuan's instructions, they went downstairs to join the others. Liang Yuan looked up at the ceiling, hesitatingly took out a kitchen knife, controlled it with telekinesis, and furiously cut off the woman's head. As the head fell to the ground with a plop, he finally breathed a sigh of relief. Pulling back an aluminum alloy rod, he poked the head. Underneath the thick black hair was a bizarre face without eyes, only a nose and mouth. Her mouth was large, and her neck thick, seemingly evolved to emit special sound waves. Good thing she used her hair to cover it, otherwise this appearance would be quite scary. Liang Yuan couldn't help but make a sarcastic remark. I wonder what's special about this woman's sea of consciousness, able to emit spike-like spiritual power attacks combined with sound. Liang Yuan found a hammer in the item box, and after some pounding and smashing, broke the woman's head. He examined the brain, finding nothing special. Nor did he discover any mysterious turtle shell-like runes. Liang Yuan felt somewhat disappointed. Wasting a turtle shell for no gain was hard for him to accept. Unwilling to give up, he started searching inside the shop. He took all the various audio tapes, tape players, MP3 players, and Walkmans from the walls. Liang Yuan walked over to the small stage and firstly checked the piano. He remembered when he first saw this woman, she was sitting beside the piano singing. He wondered if there was anything special about the piano. Liang Yuan opened the piano and studied it for a while but found nothing unusual. He also checked the stool and found nothing special. Thinking further, he decided to dismantle the stage. As he removed the wooden boards from the stage, something shocking appeared beneath. What is this? He saw green vine-like plants growing under the stage. In the center of those plants, there was a fruit resembling a human brain. Among the plants, there were scattered human bones. All the plants rooted themselves in the wooden boards and cement, not in soil. The fruit that looked like a human brain was gently pulsating like a living creature. A fragrance resembling jackfruit wafted through the air. Liang Yuan couldn't help but swallow. This is the secret of this room? He didn't pick the human brain fruit directly but closely inspected the brain-like grooves on the fruit. Gradually, he discovered something unusual. The brain grooves resembled the mysterious runes on the turtle shell. This thing was a mutated fruit. A fruit harboring mutated skills. Liang Yuan's heart started pounding heavily. Finally, he found his second mutated fruit. Chapter 163, Survivor of Hanglong Building. This strange mutated fruit looks too weird, resembling a human brain, making one's scalp tingle. Don't mention eating it, just looking at it is creepy. Liang Yuan couldn't help but sniff. The taste is pretty good, but its appearance is too bizarre. He shook his head, but still forced himself to endure the discomfort and reached out to pick the human brain fruit. The fruit felt very light in the hand, with a cold touch, similar to the icy feeling when enhancing spiritual power. Liang Yuan was almost certain that this fruit would awaken a spirit superpower. After thinking for a moment, he put away the fruit and did not eat it directly. Sister Mai has yet to awaken any mutant ability, perhaps we should leave this fruit for her. As the fruit was picked, the large patch of green vines underground began to wither gradually. Liang Yuan sifted through the vines but found nothing else. At that moment, he stood up and walked towards the kitchen of the store. In the kitchen, he found a large amount of alcohol, beverages, dried fruits, and snacks. Liang Yuan was somewhat surprised that these items hadn't been taken by anyone. Thinking it over, he quickly understood why. With this mutant woman guarding here, who would dare to come in? He laughed, realizing these things were now all his. He promptly began scavenging, taking away everything from the store. After finishing the scavenging, he suddenly remembered something. Right, this monster guards this floor, and people don't dare to come here. Maybe the other store items on this floor are also untouched. Liang Yuan's eyes lit up as he immediately hurried away from Love Satiates, to start scavenging the entire floor. Most of the stores on this floor were selling alcohol, with a few snack shops, yielding a substantial haul for Liang Yuan. He swept away all their stock, which was all sealed and wouldn't spoil for half a year. Due to his efficiency, the shops were cleared in no time. After raiding 3 or 4 shops, Ding Yan, Zhao Ke, and others returned. Liang Yuan. Brother Liang. As they reunited with Liang Yuan, they all began asking about his situation. Liang Yuan kept the part about the mutated fruit to himself and briefly explained what had happened. He also told them, everyone, there are many stores with food on this floor that weren't taken, probably because the mutant monster occupied this area and others didn't dare to come. All the food survived. Everyone, check around and take all the edibles. Old Ma, Brother K, Zhongbing, Win Lily, you guys organize the search. Zhao Ke, Ding Yan, Gu Feng, you 3 come with me to find Sister Mai and the others. Ding Yan and the other 3 nodded quickly, and the group divided into 2 teams, with Liang Yuan's team moving upstairs rapidly. There were still wet footprints in the stairway. Looks like they are still upstairs. Ding Yan observed the footprints and quickly concluded. Liang Yuan said in a deep voice, continue, keep an eye on the footprints along the way. Alright. They continued to ascend, climbing several more floors, tracking the footprints as they led towards the direction of the emergency door. Liang Yuan immediately followed the footprints and walked towards the emergency door. Ding Yan grabbed him quickly and said, Liang Yuan, let me go in first. Liang Yuan was taken aback. Why? Ding Yan, if there's danger, I can buffer it, and you can react in time. Among us, your combat power is the strongest and most likely to reverse the situation. We can't let you take risks up front. Saying this, she stepped forward and took the lead. Liang Yuan quickly tried to pull him back, but Zhao Kai also stepped ahead, standing in front of him. Brother Liang, Sister Ding is right, you're the key among us, don't take risks. Let us do the scouting. Liang Yuan had no choice and turned to Gu Feng. Gu Feng, exhale smoke, conceal our forms. Watch me. Gu Feng promptly exhaled smoke, and immediately, white smoke gathered from his mouth, swiftly enveloping everyone. Ding Yan and Zhao Kai were surprised, looking at Gu Feng, clearly not expecting his ability to have evolved. Previously, they had gone to Hanglong Building with Liang Yuan and had seen Gu Feng's superpower. At that time, Gu Feng's smoke ability was quite ordinary, merely obscuring vision without any combat power. Liang Yuan whispered, Gu Feng's smoke has changed, now it can not only block vision but also effectively shield spiritual power, it's a hiding technique. Gu Feng grinned brightly after being praised by Liang Yuan, humbly saying, not at all, Mr. Liang, my ability is quite useless, only good for hiding, no attack power. The fact that it can shield spiritual power already makes it impressive, Ding Yan said with a smile. Zhao Kai patted Gu Feng's shoulder and laughed. Good lad, your smoke has evolved, it can shield spiritual power now. Gu Feng laughed happily. They whispered and entered the corridor of that floor. This floor seemed to be a clothing market, with children's clothing sold on the left side. Liang Yuan glanced at the footprints on the ground, and the four of them continued to follow. Soon, faint light started coming from ahead, along with shadows moving, and there were confrontational shouts. Is it Song Wen? Ding Yan immediately exclaimed with joy. Liang Yuan was puzzled. How do you know? Zhao Kai explained. Brother Liang, Song Wen holds 2 sunflowers in her hand that emit light. The light you see is from Song Wen's sunflowers. It must be Song Wen and the others over there. Liang Yuan realized this and quickly said, let's hurry over and check it out. While speaking, the group rushed to the brightly lit shop ahead. Chapter 163, Survivor of Henglong Building 2. The time goes back to 10 minutes ago. Dong Yan, enduring the excruciating pain in her head, pulled her younger brother Dong Ji and Yang Mai and quickly retreated behind the safety door. The outside woman's humming sound disappeared instantly. She felt a stabbing pain in her brain, but her heart relaxed a little. Then she let go of her brother and Yang Mai and said, I'll call the others. Before Dong Ji and Yang Mai could stop her, she wanted to rush out again. However, as soon as she went out, her head felt like it was going to explode from the pain. There was no way she could step into the corridor. Fortunately, at this time, Liu Fei, Song Wen, and the others pulled back Liu Danian, Huaman, and the others as they hurriedly ran back. Liu Fei, also an awakened spiritual power user, managed to barely resist the humming of the mutant woman. They brought their family and partners back. On the other side, Elder Lin, enveloped in golden light, although without actual offensive power, had a certain defensive effect against spiritual power. With his interference, he pulled out Yang Shenmin and Shi Heizu. Besides them, there was another person who ran out. It was Huang Han. To be precise, it was Huang Han's golden python that wrapped her up and ran at the critical moment, saving her life. As for the others, they were trapped over there. Neither Dong Yan nor Liu Fei could go back in to save anyone. For a moment, everyone was extremely anxious. We can't just stay here, let's go upstairs and find any survivors here. Maybe we can join forces with them and find a way to save everyone, Yang Shenmin quickly suggested. He was relatively calm, able to quickly think of a solution. Shiheizu stood beside him and said, right, find those bastards. If they hadn't killed people and dumped bodies, attracting the octopus monster, we wouldn't have been forced into Henglong Building. Mr. Liang clearly ordered an immediate retreat at the time. Damn it, it's all those bastards' fault. Elder Lin was also full of regret. He almost wanted to come in to find food at that time. Unexpectedly, he nearly lost his life by coming in. He quickly said, yes, let's find the survivors here and find out what's going on with this monster. Dong Yan and Song Wen had no better ideas either. Without Liang Yuan by her side, Yang Mai's face was pale with fright, having no idea, and she stayed beside Song Wen, listening to their arrangements. She was just an ordinary person and didn't have a mutant ability. Most of the people here were mutant ability users, so she naturally had no say. Song Wen held the mutated sunflower, using its emitted light to illuminate the corridor. Let's go upstairs then, find out the culprit, and we can question him about the monster. Seeing that everyone agreed, they all began running upstairs. After only a few floors, Dong Yan suddenly stopped. Wait, there's someone on this floor. Her spiritual link ability could sense people within a 50-meter radius. Shiheizu immediately said, I'll go ahead and check. As he spoke, a yellow light emanated from his body, and his body rapidly hardened like a rock. This was his awakened ability, petrification. After petrification, not only did his defense power soar, making him impervious to knives and swords, but his strength also increased. Yang Shenmin walked behind him, holding a dagger in his hand. A faint golden light attached to the dagger, making it look extremely sharp. The two led the way, with Dong Yin giving directions from behind. Song Wen and Liu Fei flanked Yang Mai on either side, protecting her in the middle. Following closely behind were Liu Danian, Huaman, and others. As they entered the corridor, the sunflower's light instantly illuminated the dark hallway. Suddenly, a figure flashed in front of them, quickly running into the distance. That person's speed was incredibly fast, like a phantom. Stop! Shiheizu roared and grabbed a flower vase, hurling it out violently. Bang! The vase smashed to the ground and shattered instantly. But that person had already disappeared into a shop. Shiheizu wanted to chase after him, but Yang Shenmin immediately shouted, Zuzi, don't go. Shiheizu stopped immediately, and Yang Shenmin quickly gathered everyone together. Miss Dong Yan, how many people are in that shop? Yang Shenmin turned to Dong Yan and asked. Dong Yan sensed for a moment and quickly said, 8 people. They're all hiding at the entrance. Yang Shenmin's face instantly darkened, and he said coldly, they're planning an ambush. These people are up to no good, let me handle this. Liu Fei, furious, immediately wanted to use her spirit maze ability, though her spiritual power was limited and could only trap 3 to 4 people. Yang Shenmin said, Ms. Song, you and Elder Lin stay here and protect the others. Zuzi, Miss Liu, the 3 of us will deal with them. Alright. Shihazu took the lead, transforming completely into stone. As he walked, he was like a moving statue, thumping against the ground. When they reached the shop's entrance, they saw the shop's roller shutters half raised. Shihazu smashed both fists against the shutters. Bang! Bang! After 2 or 3 hits, the shutters were completely dented and twisted. Yang Shenmin arrived and slashed with his dagger. With a ripping sound, the ordinary-looking dagger's golden light flashed, instantly tearing through the shutters. As Shihazu's foot kicked out, the shutters broke with a crash. Before Shihazu could enter, a figure lunged out, swinging a blade at his head. Shihazu grinned savagely, I've been waiting for you. Chapter 163, Survivor of Hanglong Building 3. He didn't dodge or evade, instead, he raised his fist and slammed it down hard. Boom. Clang. The man's knife landed on Shihazu's fist, causing sparks to fly, as if it had struck a rock. Shihazu swung his other fist towards the opponent. The man suddenly retreated, moving with lightning speed, and Shihazu couldn't catch him at all. Yang Shenmin immediately understood and said, a speed superpower user. Miss Liu, it's your turn. Liu Fei promptly responded, I'm on it. Her eyes flashed with a mystical light, and the speed superpower user immediately froze in place, dazed. Seizing the opportunity, Shihazu charged forward. He was about to punch the man's forehead. But suddenly, a circle of light shone brightly. Before Shihazu could react, the circle of light exploded, sending Shihazu flying backward. With a thud, he crashed against the wall beside the roller shutter door. Yang Shenmin was shocked, Zuzi. He looked toward the direction of the light circle and saw a woman standing there, her hand retracting slowly. She said in a deep voice, defense superpower, spiritual attack, I've never seen you before. You aren't Wang Wedong's people. Yang Shenmin cautiously observed the woman, and behind her, 6 more people emerged one after another. Who are you? Yang Shenmin asked in a deep voice. At the same time, he looked towards Shihazu by the wall. He saw Shihazu climbing out of the rubble, cursing under his breath but refraining from making any sudden moves. Clearly, he also sensed something was off. These people didn't seem to be the targets they were looking for this time. Songwen and the others hurried over as well. With more people on their side, their imposing manner seemed to grow stronger. With Songwen's arrival, the mutated sunflowers illuminated the entire shop. Everyone also clearly saw the appearance of the woman opposite them. This woman looked to be in her early 30s, wearing a small suit jacket on her upper body with a black silk shirt underneath. A red string was tied around her snowy white neck, and whatever it held sank deep into her cleavage. Her lower body was adorned with suit pants of the same color, but instead of high heels, she wore black leather shoes. Her overall demeanor exuded the aura of a strong woman. However, a tiny mole at the corner of her eye added a touch of allure, slightly undermining her authoritative aura. At this moment, she looked sternly at the group of strangers, her heart filled with suspicion. In the past 6 months, she had recognized everyone in Hanglong Building. Yet she couldn't name a single person in this group, which truly surprised her. As her thoughts raced, she quickly understood that this group must have come from outside. They were definitely not Wang Wedong's people. Realizing this, she immediately had an idea. This group could possibly be recruited to serve her purposes and help her fight against Wang Wedong. With this in mind, her stern expression softened, and she took the initiative to smile and speak, Ladies and gentlemen, I think there has been a misunderstanding. I am Ken Jing, the manager of Hanglong Hotel. These here are my companions. We are unaware of how we might have offended you to cause this unnecessary misunderstanding. Her tone was sincere and composed, showing no fear despite Yang Shenmin's larger group. Yang Shenmin exchanged glances with his companions, and finally, he spoke. Ms. Qin, are there only your group of survivors in Hanglong Building, or is there another group? Ken Jing's heart stirred, and she smiled. May I ask what your business is? Why do you inquire about this? Yang Shenmin did not answer and only said, just tell me if there is or isn't. Ken Jing's heart skipped a beat, realizing this person was no social novice and had more depth than she had anticipated. She remained silent, but the speed-type superpower user beside her immediately shouted angrily, what kind of attitude is that, speaking to Sister Jing that way? Yu Feng. Ken Jing frowned, reprimanding the young man. Yu Feng gave Yang Shenmin a hostile look but said no more. Yang Shenmin ignored Yu Feng and sneered, Lady, we are not from Hanglong Building. We witnessed someone in Hanglong building committing murder and disposing of bodies, attracting terrifying monsters from the flood to attack us. We have a debt to settle here. Kenjing raised her eyebrows in surprise. You really came from outside? With the flooding outside, how did you manage to travel? And the monsters in the water, how did you handle them? Did you encounter any rescue teams on your way? Any official news? She fired off a series of questions, sounding rather excited. Yang Shenmin responded sternly, you haven't answered my question yet. Kenjing was taken aback and quickly explained, indeed, there is another group in Hanglong building. Based on what you've said, it does seem like they're doing. I won't hide it from you, in Hanglong building, there's another group that is well organized and numerous. We are being oppressed by them and have no choice but to hide down here. Yang Shenmin understood, realizing his guess was correct. It matched his suspicion. Hanglong building could not possibly be controlled by just one faction. Given its size and many floors, there must be divided allegiances. Yang Shenmin wanted to inquire more about the situation, but Songwen could no longer hold back. She interrupted, Miss Qin, can you explain what the singing monster on the 24th floor is all about? You've been to the 24th floor? Kenjing's face changed with shock, exclaiming in surprise. Behind her, Yu Feng and the others looked at the group with strange expressions. The people behind them whispered among themselves, occasionally glancing over. Songwen saw their reactions and knew there must be something special about the 24th floor. She anxiously asked, what is it? Kenjing shook her head slightly, marveling, you are very lucky to have escaped the 24th floor alive. What do you mean? Liu Feifei couldn't help but ask. Kenjing sighed, in the past 2 months, I haven't seen anyone leaving the 24th floor alive. The 24th floor, along with the 28th floor, is considered a forbidden zone. Anyone who enters is unlikely to survive. We've managed to evade Wang Widong's gang and survive up to now mainly because we dared to pass through the 28th floor, which Wang Widong's people do not dare to come down to. As for the 24th floor, we absolutely never enter it. Chapter 164, Kenjing's shock. After Kenjing finished speaking, Songwen, Yang Shenmin, and others all had a drastic change in their expressions. Then, Old Ma and the others. Yang Mai couldn't help but cover her mouth, her eyes turning red. Songwen and Liu Feifei didn't know what to say for a moment. The woman humming in that shop on the 24th floor, is she really that terrifying? Yang Shenmin couldn't help but ask, what exactly is on the 24th floor? Who is that woman humming songs, and why is she attacking everyone? Kenjing glanced at them and sighed, do you have friends who accidentally went to the 24th floor? It looks like you've tried a rescue, haven't you? Liang Hong's spiritual attack isn't something an ordinary superpower user can resist. Liang Hong? Shihezu couldn't help but ask. Kenjing nodded, yes, the woman humming is named Liang Hong, the shop owner of Love Satiates. At the beginning of the Great Flood, she was asked by the main shop to stay on duty because she had a child to take care of, so she stayed in the shop with her kid. Later, when the Great Flood broke out, everyone was trapped in the building, including her and her daughter. Due to the lack of food, people gradually started to scramble for food in the building. Later, some went mad, not only robbing food but also bullying others. When they saw a pretty woman, they would make unwanted advances, even forcibly. When one person did this, the evil in others' hearts was also unleashed from its cage. Order collapsed, rape, murder, robbery, violence. Kenjing recounted the past with a grim expression. Yang Shenmin, Songwen, and others had equally grim looks. Because they had personally experienced all those things she mentioned. They also knew what kind of fate awaited pretty women in such situations. Yang Shenmin couldn't help but interrupt, that Liang Hong, was she bullied by someone? He couldn't bear to use the word rape. Kenjing nodded, yes, her encounters were tragic, I won't go into details. She was violated in front of her daughter, her spirit got traumatized, she went mad, and somehow turned into a monster, starting to eat people's brains. Her daughter was petrified, and a few days later, people found her daughter on the 28th floor. By the time, her daughter had also mutated into a terrifying entity. Since then, the 24th and 28th floors have become danger zones, and no one dares to go there anymore. Kenjing's words made Songwen and others remember the fate of Wang Yanmai and her daughter at Building 76. For a moment, everyone fell silent. Yang Shenmin frowned, is there really no way to deal with Liang Hong on the 24th floor? You've been here for so long, haven't you tried to look into it? Kenjing shook her head, who dares to go? After Liang Hong mutated into a monster, she fused with the shop. She can't leave the shop, but her humming covers a large range. If you rush in, you could easily fall victim to her. Luckily she can't come out, otherwise, we wouldn't be able to stay on the 26th floor. Yang Shenmin, Songwen, and Liu Feifei all had somber expressions. Do we really have to watch everyone get their brains eaten by Liang Hong? If only Brother Liang were here, Song Wen couldn't help but whisper. Liu Fei also anxiously said, Brother Kai is still down there. If Brother Liang were here, he would definitely have a solution. Yu Feng, standing next to Ken Jing, sneered upon hearing this. He scoffed coldly, no one can do anything. Even Sister Jing couldn't handle Liang Hong. Wang Widong's people don't dare to go either. I advise you to think about how to survive next. You probably can't go above the 28th floor. You can only stay here below. But the food below has already been snatched up by others. If you want to eat now, you'll have to go downstairs and catch fish. Song Wen, Liu Fei, and the other women frowned upon hearing this, looking angry. You don't know Brother Liang's capabilities. If Brother Liang were here, he would definitely have a way. How about we wait for Brother Liang to come back and ask him? Who knows where Brother Liang is now and how he's doing? That mutated octopus is not easy to deal with. No matter how tough it is, Brother Liang can handle it. The few of them encouraged each other. Yang Shenman, seeing this, felt anxious inside as well. Liang Yuan was the pillar of the group. If he were here, he would surely boost morale and came up with a plan. He didn't believe Liang Yuan would be easily killed by the octopus monster. He considered himself to know Liang Yuan quite well. Liang Yuan was kind-hearted but certainly not a saint. When capable, he wouldn't hesitate to show kindness and help others a little. But risking his life to help others, Yang Shenman found it unlikely. Liang Yuan wasn't that kind of person. So even though the octopus monster seemed dangerous, if Liang Yuan dared to charge at it, he must have a way to survive. At this moment, Qin Jing suddenly asked, the Liang Yuan you mentioned, is he your leader? Song Wen nodded without hesitation, yes. Does he have any special abilities? Actually, there might be a way to deal with Liang Hong. What? You have a way to deal with Liang Hong? At this point, not only Song Wen but even Yang Shenman immediately looked up at her. Qin Jing shook her head slightly, I don't have a solution, but I have an idea. After Liang Hong's spiritual mutation failed, she turned into a monster. If there's someone with strong spiritual power who can withstand Liang Hong, maybe we could rescue others in the meantime. Yang Shenman and the others turned to look at Dong Yan and Liu Fei immediately. Out of everyone, only the two of them were spiritual power mutants. Chapter 164, Qin Jing's shock too. However, Liu Fei shook her head, I've tried, that monster's psychic power is strong, I can't block it. Dong Yan also turned pale and said, my psychic power is not good at defense, I can't block her either. Hearing this, Qin Jing immediately understood that they were both psychic power mutants, and a strange look flashed in her eyes. She was planning to say something. Suddenly, they heard footsteps coming from outside. Everyone was shocked and quickly looked for cover, looking towards the back gallery. However, they immediately heard a familiar voice. Sister Mai? Is it you? In the crowd, Yang Mai heard this voice and suddenly stood up, her eyes filled with surprise and excitement. Little brother! She screamed with joy and rushed towards the gallery. Others were also overjoyed, Song Wen, Yang Shenman, and others walked out to welcome the approaching people. Under Song Wen's sunflower light, they could see the faces of Liang Yuan and the others. Yang Shenman and the others, in their excitement, couldn't help but shout, Mr. Liang, you've come back. Brother Kai. How did you escape? Liu Fei saw Zhao Kai and immediately cheered with joy, running over to check his condition up and down. Zhao Kai scratched his head, somewhat uncomfortable with her enthusiasm, and quietly took a step back, saying, it was Brother Liang who saved us after he came back. Yang Mai threw herself into Liang Yuan's arms, her eyes filled with tears of joy. Little brother, you made sister so worried, boo-hoo. Liang Yuan gently patted her back and said softly, it's okay. You know me, I wouldn't do anything reckless if I wasn't sure. As he spoke, he looked towards Ding Yan beside him. Ding Yan remained calm and walked over to greet Song Wen, Liu Fei, and the others. Granny Li, Old Ma, Kaizi, and the others also came over. Everyone gathered, and all were overjoyed, quickly exchanging questions. Song Wen absent-mindedly responded to Granny Li's concern, frequently glancing towards Liang Yuan. Liang Yuan turned his gaze and looked at her. In his gentle eyes, there was a hint of a smile. Song Wen's heart started pounding, and she quickly turned her face away, focusing on talking with Granny Li. Dong Yan was also very happy, running to Liang Yuan's side, anxiously wanting to talk to him, but shy to interrupt Yang Mai as she expressed her thoughts. Dong Ji watched, feeling helpless, and decided to ignore his sister, running to Gu Feng to ask how they escaped from the octopus monster. Everyone shared their stories quickly. Not far away, Qin Jing and her people stood aside, listening in disbelief. Yu Feng couldn't help but whisper, Sister Jing, are they bragging? That guy named Liang killed Liang Hong? Qinjing's beautiful eyes also fell on Liang Yuan. She couldn't see anything special about this tall man. Suddenly, from the shadows, someone spoke. He's very powerful. Yu Feng turned around, startled, and couldn't help but exclaim, "Damn, Wang Qi, can you not always sneak around like that? You scared me." Wang Qi sneered, "With such a small backbone, no wonder you run fast." Yu Feng was furious. "Bullshit, I'm quick to charge, unlike your ability, which is just comical, lowering your presence. What can you do with it? Can you fight? Or just hide like a turtle?" Wang Qi snorted, "So what? Without me, could you have passed the 28th floor?" Yu Feng was briefly stunned, then retorted, "Without my speed, could you have escaped Wang Widong's gang siege so soon?" "Haha, so you admit you're good at running?" Wang Qi sneered. Yu Feng was furious, "Damn you. Enough." Qinjing, somewhat annoyed, scolded the two of them. The two saw this and shut up. Behind them, 3 others, all regular people with no superpowers, also laughed at their bickering. They escaped with Qinjing's group and held a blood feud with the Wang Widong gang. Qinjing changed the topic, asking Wang Qi, "How do you know he's powerful?" Wang Qi said in a deep voice, "He noticed me." Just this sentence made both Qinjing and Yu Feng's faces change. If anyone else said this, it wouldn't be a big deal. Noticing someone, so what? But Wang Qi was different. His superpower was called the Observer. When he activates his power, he can significantly reduce his presence. He could even stand in the shadows of any random corner, and people passing by might not notice him. It was this bizarre power that helped Qinjing and the others escape multiple times from Wang Widong's gang's pursuits. But Wang Qi said that Liang Yuan noticed him. What does this imply? It means his superpower seems ineffective against Liang Yuan. Qinjing became serious. This Liang Yuan is not simple. While they were talking, Liang Yuan also learned about the situation from Yang Mai. He turned his gaze to Qinjing and looked at the others, his eyes sharp. After saying a few words to Yang Shenmin and the others, he walked towards Qinjing and her group. "Hello, I'm Liang Yuan. Miss Qin, right? I just heard from my friends that you are from Hanglong Building. I have a few questions I'd like to ask you, if it's convenient." Qinjing's expression remained unchanged, smiling. "You must be Mr. Liang Yuan? They mentioned you several times." "I am Qinjing, you can call me by my name." Chapter 164, Qinjing's Shock 3. Liang Yuan nodded. "Ms. Qinjing, could you tell me about Wang Widong and his group?" Qinjing's eyes brightened with interest immediately. "You want to deal with Wang Widong? Let me say up front, Wang Widong's group is not simple. They are numerous, and Wang Widong himself is a powerful mutant ability user." Liang Yuan smiled, glancing at the ceiling as if he wanted to see through the floors to observe Wang Widong's appearance. "It's not that I want to deal with him. It's this Mr. Wang Widong who has been forcing me into Hanglong Building. If I don't have a good chat with him, how can I live up to my deceased companions?" Although he was smiling, there was already a murderous glint in his eyes. Qinjing's smile deepened. "Good. Wang Widong is also a sworn enemy of ours. Each one of us has a blood feud with him. If you want to take down Wang Widong, not only can we provide all the intelligence and clues, but we can also help you deal with him." Liang Yuan smiled. "Thank you. I need information on Wang Widong's mutant abilities, the number of his followers, and especially which of them are mutant ability users." Seeing his proficiency, Qinjing realized he must have had considerable experience in similar conflicts and felt somewhat excited. She then gestured inside. "Mr. Liang, why don't we sit down and discuss slowly? I also have some beverages and food here, consider it as hospitality for Mr. Liang." Liang Yuan raised an eyebrow. This woman seemed very eager for him to deal with Wang Widong. Otherwise, she wouldn't possibly be offering food to entertain him. He smiled and nodded. "Sure, but I have quite a few people here. Will Miss Qin entertain them all?" Qinjing's smile froze. Glancing back at the dozens of people outside, she quickly said, "Mr. Liang is joking. We don't have much stock either." She started pretending to be poor. Liang Yuan grinned. "Just kidding, food is precious nowadays. Ms. Qin must be having a hard time too. No need to treat us, we brought our own food." Joking, how could such a cautious person as Liang Yuan eat anything from someone else's territory? He called Yang Shenmin, asking everyone to find a place to eat locally. They had just raided the 24th floor, where many snack shops were located. Liang Yuan's group had scavenged all sorts of food, so they were not lacking food at the moment. Liang Yuan also took quite a bit out of his item space, including mutant fish and buns, pretending to take them out of a burlap sack and distributing them to Song Wen, Yang Mai, and others. Qinjing and others were dumbfounded, their faces full of disbelief. "No way, Mr. Liang, you even have buns?" Ken Jing was astonished. Yu Feng couldn't help but say, how do they still have roasted fish? Wang Qi noticed the snacks Liang Yuan's group took out and his face changed involuntarily. Sister Jing, those snacks seem to be from the snack shop on the 24th floor. Ken Jing suddenly realized, looking at Liang Yuan with shock, Mr. Liang, did you really kill Liang Hong on the 24th floor? Liang Yuan smiled, isn't it obvious? Ken Jing was immediately speechless, staring at Liang Yuan in shock. She found it hard to believe, yet had to believe it. Because the names on these snacks were indeed from the snack shop on the 24th floor. As the lobby manager of Hanglong Hotel, she was naturally familiar with the shops within Hanglong Building. It was just hard for her to believe how this man did it. Liang Hong, who had failed her mutation, had completely turned into a monster. She had never seen anyone who could enter the 24th floor and come out unscathed. Even Wang Qi with the Observer superpower couldn't achieve that. He could go in silently but would surely be drawn in by Liang Hong's eerie humming. That was an indiscriminate spiritual attack. More dangerous than the failed mutated little girl Yang Zhu on the 28th floor. After all, the little girl Yang Zhu actively attacked people, but she needed to find a target first. Wang Qi's Observer superpower lowered his presence, so Yang Zhu couldn't even spot him. That's why Wang Qi could lead everyone past Yang Zhu and cross the 28th floor. But Liang Hong's singing was an indiscriminate attack, anyone who heard it would be drawn in. Ken Jing couldn't help but ask, how did you do it? Weren't you affected by her singing? Liang Yuan took a big bite of the bun and had a drink. Let's talk about Wang Wedong. Of course, he wouldn't be foolish enough to tell everything to the other side. They were not familiar with each other, telling them how he killed Liang Hong would be revealing his abilities. Ken Jing realized her question was a bit rash. She was just too curious, losing her composure just now. Suppressing her curiosity, she looked at Liang Yuan with a bit of gravity. She thought, this Mr. Liang must be a very powerful mutant ability user, maybe. He really can help us kill Wang Wedong. Having thought of this, she grew serious. Mr. Liang, Wang Wedong's group has more than 50 people in total. Most of them are security guards, cleaners, and the remaining staff and store managers in Hanglong Building. Wang Wedong himself was originally the captain of the security team at Hanglong Building, mainly responsible for patrol security. When the Great Flood came, it was his shift, so he and a group of security guards were also trapped in Hanglong Building. The first people to start committing crimes were this group of people. Because they were security guards with walkie-talkies and weapons like batons, Wang Wedong initially gathered people to seize food and occupied the top floor of Hanglong Hotel. I, as the lobby manager of Hanglong Hotel, saw the situation and fled with a few cleaning ladies and shift leaders. She briefly introduced the background of Wang Wedong and herself as well. Chapter 165, Wang Wedong Gang Intelligence. Targeting Ken Jing's team. Liang Yuan suddenly realized that to sit in the high-level position of a hotel lobby manager, one's looks and figure were definitely within the range of considerations. No wonder Ken Jing was so good-looking and had a great figure. The way Yu Feng and Wang Qi looked at her clearly showed admiration. Liang Yuan asked, what abilities does Wang Wedong have? Ken Jing's expression was serious. Wang Wedong's superpower is very special. It's called Phantom, which allows him to make any part of his body intangible, turning it into a state similar to gas or an energy form. Any physical attack cannot harm him, but when he strikes, it can injure others. Liang Yuan raised his eyebrow. Phantom. Yet another bizarre ability I've never seen before. This ability does sound quite interesting. Ignoring physical attacks in most situations is definitely a pretty awesome power. However, Liang Yuan almost instantly thought of a way to counter this ability. That would be spiritual power. Spiritual power directly attacks the consciousness in the mind. The opponent's phantom ability ignores physical attacks, but they certainly still have thoughts and consciousness, which would be affected by spiritual power. Sure enough, just as Liang Yuan was about to mention this, Ken Jing already spoke. Unless it's a spiritual attack, there is no way to deal with him. Unfortunately, I don't have such experts among my people. Moreover, he has several other superpower users around him, including someone with a spirit class defense superpower. With these people around him, it's very difficult to make a move against him. Tell me about the superpower users around him, Liang Yuan said. There are 5 superpower users around him, namely his brother Wang Weijun, the manager of the Huangman chicken shop Yangming, security team member Zhu Yi, gym female coach Liungxin, and another person named Wu Xingxing, whose profession is unknown but who had been living in our hotel for a long time before the Great Flood. What abilities do they have? When Ding Yan quietly approached, she asked. With her were Zhao Kei, Yang Shenman, Shi Heizu, and others. Ken Jing glanced at the few of them, estimating that these people were probably core members of Liang Yuan's team. She continued, Wang Weijun is a strength-type superpower user with immense power, though he himself isn't very tall. Before awakening his superpower, he was always a self-conscious, introverted person. After awakening, he became extremely cruel and has a strong aversion towards women. Everyone suspects that he was hurt by a woman before the Great Flood. The murders and corpse dumping you mentioned are very likely done by him. At that time, many female survivors faced his cruel hands. Liang Yuan asked, "It's just immense strength?" "Very immense." Qin Jing emphasized, "He can lift a ton of marble single-handedly. Catching people is like playing, and if anyone gets punched by him, if they lack defense superpower and are just ordinary beings, they will certainly die." Liang Yuan murmured in realization. Single-handedly lifting a ton of weight, he could do that when his strength attribute had not reached 10 points. This pure strength-type superpower user posed no particular threat. However, in the early stages of every superpower user's awakening, it was clear that strength-type, speed-type, and similar superpower users had incredible destructive power. On the contrary, spirit ability users, without sufficient spiritual power support, even with spirit superpowers, could not engage in long-lasting combat. Not only did Liang Yuan think this way, Ding Yan and the others had similar thoughts. No matter how strong the strength, at its core, it's still flesh and blood, equally susceptible to injury and death. Besides, no matter how great the strength, it's only useful if it can hit its target. "What about Yang Ming, the manager of the Huangman chicken shop?" Liang Yuan asked. Qin Jing's expression immediately turned serious. "You must be cautious with this person. He possesses a superpower that enables him to create energy bombs. Be extremely careful of anything he throws." "Energy bombs?" Liang Yuan raised his eyebrow. Shihezu couldn't help but ask, "Are those really bombs? What's the power like?" "The power is very strong with an explosion range of 5 to 10 meters and a huge impact that isn't inferior to that of a regular grenade," Qin Jing said. Liang Yuan glanced at her and asked, "Really? Manager Qin, have you witnessed the power of a grenade firsthand?" Qin Jing was momentarily speechless. Of course, she hadn't seen the power of a grenade explosion herself. She was just comparing it to make Liang Yuan's group take it seriously. Yu Feng, standing behind Qin Jing, saw Qin Jing being questioned, and immediately got angry. "Sister Jing kindly gave you the intel. If you don't want to hear it, just say so. Why the hell do you need to argue? Have you seen a grenade explosion? Yang Ming's energy bomb is more powerful than Wang Huijian's full-force punch. Sister Jing said this to make you guys more cautious. What's with your sarcasm?" Qin Jing hurriedly stopped Yu Feng. "Yu Feng, say less." Though saying this, she felt gratified inside. Deep within, she too thought that Liang Yuan's group was ungrateful and failed to understand her good intentions. How dare they mock her for not witnessing the power of a grenade? Liang Yuan raised his head and looked at Yu Feng, suddenly smiled. "Young man, I want accurate intel, not exaggerated and dramatized content. Exaggerated intel influences our judgment of the enemy's strength, which can be fatal." Yu Feng couldn't endure any more and said to Qin Jing, "Sister Jing, these people think too highly of themselves, unreasonable. We kindly offer intel, and they treat us like this. What else is there to discuss?" Qin Jing internally sighed. She needed these people to help her deal with Wang Wedong. How could she really give them a cold shoulder? She then said, "We share a common enemy, Mr. Liang. I wasn't exaggerating. Yang Ming's ability should not be underestimated, so I wanted to remind you sincerely." Chapter 346, Wang Wedong Gang Intelligence, targeting Qin Jing's team. To Liang Yuan nodded and said, "Understood, Manager Qin meant well. Ding Yan, why don't you show them your power?" Upon hearing this, Ding Yan was slightly taken aback, but then quickly nodded, without asking why, and walked to the side, then asked, "Is it alright if I hit that wall?" Liang Yuan nodded. "Yes." The next moment, empowerment light shone on Ding Yan's fist. Before Qin Jing and the others could react, she suddenly launched a punch. Boom! The air roared instantly, followed by the empowerment light wrapping around the fist force and explosively shooting out. An air cannon abruptly bombarded the wall. Boom! The entire wall exploded, the wall directly cracked, cement splattered, wall panels roared, bricks shattered. The residual force of the air cannon fist stirred up a gust of wind, whistling through everyone's hair. This punch caused Qin Jing's pupils to shrink. She suddenly stood up. Yu Feng's angry expression was also frozen on his face full of shock. Observer, Wang Qi, even subconsciously used his ability in shock, becoming even less noticeable. The other three ordinary people under Qin Jing were so frightened that they kept retreating, hiding behind Qin Jing, Yu Feng, and others. Even Yang Shenmin and Shihezu beside Liang Yuan couldn't help but show a look of astonishment and admiration. This was the first time they saw other superpower users under Liang Yuan take action. Ding Yan's empowered air cannon truly amazed everyone. Yang Shenmin couldn't help but look at Ding Yan, then at Liang Yuan, and then at Zhao minutes. He smiled bitterly in his heart. No wonder they have the capability to go to that building. It turns out there are so many superpower experts around Liang Yuan. He couldn't help but sigh in his heart, extinguishing some ambitions he shouldn't have had. Liang Yuan gently knocked on the table, drawing everyone's attention. He stood up and walked towards Qinjing. Qinjing subconsciously took a step back. But quickly realizing something, she immediately stood still, raised her head and stared at Liang Yuan, seemingly unwilling to fall behind. Liang Yuan and her exchanged a glance, suddenly smiled, then turned to look at Yufeng beside him. His figure was already tall, a head taller than Yufeng. At such close range, the height difference became even more apparent. When Liang Yuan looked down, the sense of oppression was even more obvious. At that moment, Yufeng felt as if he was being stared at by something terrifying, causing his spine to feel cold, and goosebumps to rise. Liang Yuan slowly opened his mouth, grinning as he asked. "The power of the hand grenade you mentioned, does it compare to that punch my friend just threw?" Yufeng's mouth opened, but his throat seemed to be stuck with phlegm, making it difficult to speak. In the end, Qinjing managed to handle the situation. She moved to the left, blocking Liang Yuan's line of sight to Yufeng. Her height was about the same as Yufeng's, around 1.72 meters. Also much shorter than Liang Yuan, but in terms of momentum, she was much stronger than Yufeng. She raised her head, met Liang Yuan's gaze, her face unfazed. With a smile she said, "Mr. Liang has some hidden talents around him. I underestimated your friends. Yang Ming's energy bomb has about the same power. It's probably not much for Mr. Liang to worry about." Liang Yuan looked at her. At such close range, he could smell a hint of perfume on her. Very faint, but his senses were strong. He naturally noticed it. He smiled, sat back down, and said, "Manager Qin, just tell me what I ask, no need to add subjective judgments. Now, can you tell me about the other superpower users?" Qinjing smiled sitting back down, but her palms subconsciously clenched. She knew that this situation looked like Liang Yuan was intentionally causing trouble, but actually, it was not. Liang Yuan used this method to demonstrate his power to them. He was announcing to Qinjing who the real boss here was. This tactic was very effective, at least, the Yufeng behind her already didn't dare to speak. Qinjing took a deep breath. The man in front of her was even more overbearing than Wang Wedong. She looked deeply at Liang Yuan, then continued. "There are 3 more people, Zhu Yi, Liu Xin, Wu Zixing. Zhu Yi's superpower is darts, or throwing. I'm not sure exactly, I just know he has a slingshot, using glass balls as ammunition. It never misses and is very powerful. Also, he's good at throwing things. He can accurately throw knives, cleavers, anything, hitting the target. Liu Xin, she's the only one under Wang Wedong's command with spiritual power as a superpower. Her spiritual power can form a very strong barrier, capable of defending against physical and spiritual attacks. Wu Zixing, he has the abilities of a grasshopper. His arms can transform into blade arms, incredibly sharp, and he has great jumping power, easily able to jump up to the height of a floor. So he has a nickname, called Grasshopper. Of course, some people who hate him to the bone call him Gunner." Zhao Kai couldn't help but ask. "Gunner? What does that mean?" Liang Yuan also looked at Qinjing. "What's the nickname Gunner about? Is it related to his abilities?" Qinjing shook her head, her expression a bit strange, and said, "No, the nickname has nothing to do with his abilities. Not really, how to say this? It's not related to his mutated ability, but related to another ability of his." Liang Yuan looked at Qinjing puzzled. Qinjing found it a little hard to speak, struggling with how to explain. Chapter 347, Intelligence on Wang Wedong's Gang, warning Qinjing's Team 3. In the end, it was Yufeng who spoke first. He glanced at Liang Yuan before saying, "I'll tell you. Among the survivors upstairs, there's talk that Wu Zixing is a premature ejaculator, a 3-second quick shooter. They say a female survivor was once pulled into his room, but was let out in less than 2 minutes. The woman said Wu Jingjing had just taken it out, and he was already done. So he got the nickname Gunman." All the men present couldn't help but chuckle. A few people also looked a bit embarrassed, glancing around nervously. Liang Yuan couldn't help but laugh too. This piece of information was actually quite trivial. But Liang Yuan thought it might indeed be useful. At the very least, in a fight, talking some trash could be something Wu Zixing couldn't stand, and he might reveal a weakness. "What about the rest?" Qinjing shook her head. "That's all. The others are just ordinary people, mostly forced and threatened by Wang Wedong's gang. The pretty women are basically their playthings. The men all became slaves to work for them. There are still about 10 to 20 floors above, with hotels, kitchens, and shops, so food isn't an immediate problem. But after these 2 months, Their food should be running out, so they're desperate to come down and fish. I guess they forced you guys in to draw out the mutant monster Yang Zhu on the 28th floor. And as another motive, they might also want to steal your food. Qin actively helped Liang Yuan and his team analyze Wang Wedong and his group's motives. Liang Yuan immediately asked, "What's the situation with the mutant monster Yang Zhu on the 28th floor?" Qin sighed at his words. She's a pitiful child. She watched her mother, Liang Hong, get driven mad and mutated into a monster. She was so scared that she ran away in a panic. She ended up mutating into a monster as well. Maybe because she's young, she stayed on the 28th floor the whole time. Why stay there? Ding Yan interjected. Qin was quite wary of Ding Yan. That air cannon fist just now had impressive power, no less than her own ring of fury. She explained patiently. The 28th floor is a kid's amusement zone. It has places like Child King and Fairy Tale House, as well as game halls and arcades. She's been staying there, probably because she has lingering memories. And luckily so. If she was running around, even Wang Wedong's gang wouldn't survive. Liang Yuan immediately asked. I want to know what her abilities are. We don't know what her ability is called, but we know that once someone enters the 28th floor and catches her attention, they lose control of their bodies and become like puppets. She loves playing with dolls. Once she's tired of them, she dismembers them brutally. Sometimes, when she's hungry, she eats them. Qin's expression revealed obvious terror as she finished speaking. Liang Yuan's face also grew grim, imagining live people treated as toys. What kind of ability is this? Could it be some mutation of spiritual power? Liang Yuan asked again. How large is the range of her ability? The entire 28th floor is under her surveillance. Even the stairwells? Yes, even the emergency stairwell is within her sensing range. Liang Yuan glanced at her, then suddenly asked. How did you escape her notice and come down from upstairs? Qin froze for a moment, then fell silent. She didn't want to answer this question because it involved Wang Chi's observer ability. Wang Chi was her trump card. But such an important matter was not something Liang Yuan would overlook. He wasn't in a hurry and looked at Qin, speaking slowly. Manager Qin, as you said, Wang Wedong and his gang are our common enemy. As long as these people are alive, we won't have peace. If you want to survive here, you have to face Wang Wedong. I want to leave here, so I have to eliminate him to prevent him from attracting monsters to attack my raft. Our interests are aligned. Why hide anything from me? Qin frowned, seemingly deep in thought, and finally looked towards Wang Chi. Wang Chi hesitated for a moment but eventually stepped forward. Sister Jing, let me explain. When he spoke, everyone except Liang Yuan only then noticed there was such a person behind Qin. Everyone was momentarily stunned. Zhao Kai couldn't help but say. Where did this guy come from? Ding Yan also glanced at Wang Chi in surprise, wanting to remember him. Yang Shenmin's expression changed slightly, looking at Wang Chi warily. Liang Yuan looked at Wang Chi, his expression unchanged, but he was astonished internally. To be honest, during his conversation with Qin, he almost overlooked this person. There seemed to be a natural background character vibe about this guy, making people forget him quickly after a glance. Mr. Liang, I'm Wang Chi. You might have guessed my ability. I have very low presence, people call me an observer. When I activate my ability, I can lower my presence to the minimum. Even people or objects I touch also have their presence lowered. The reason we avoided Yang Zhu's notice was because of my ability. Liang Yuan was amazed, looking Wang Chi up and down. Wang Chi was very thin, wearing a loose t-shirt, standing there almost like a clothes rack. If he stood in the corner, he'd look like clothes hanging on a wall. He marveled. Observer? I've really learned something new today. I didn't expect such an ability. Impressive. Wang Chi smiled slightly. Mr. Liang, there's no need to be modest. You must have noticed me earlier. I also want to take this opportunity to ask how you broke through my ability? With this question, everyone immediately looked at Liang Yuan in surprise. Liang Yuan broke the other's ability? Qin exclaimed. What? You were aware of him the whole time? Chapter 348, split into two teams. Yang Mai's awakening as Ding Yan and others were stunned, they felt it was to be expected. Because that person was Liang Yuan. They had long developed a blind admiration for Liang Yuan. They trusted Liang Yuan's abilities completely. Even if Liang Yuan flew one day, they would just be momentarily surprised and then feel it was natural. Ever since they knew Liang Yuan, he had repeatedly created surprises for them, breaking their perceptions. A pistol, spaced superpower, killing Liu Erlong, eliminating Wang Zi, defeating the Meat Mountain monster. Any of these feats alone would be enough to move and shock anyone. Liang Yuan achieved them all. At this moment, Cracking a superpower's ability was nothing out of the ordinary. But Qinjing and her group were truly astonished and horrified. Especially Qinjing, in her shock, what she felt beyond horror was a greater dread of Liang Yuan. Liang Yuan deciphered Wang Shi's observer superpower, which meant another of her trump cards was gone. She had even less initiative in front of Liang Yuan's group. Liang Yuan didn't care about their thoughts, only addressing Wang Shi. Your superpower should be considered a type of spirit class ability. Using spiritual power to shield your own presence, it's a very mysterious ability. However, when encountering someone whose spiritual power is stronger than yours, if that person pays attention to you, your ability's effectiveness will be greatly reduced. He suddenly smiled. Unfortunately, my spiritual power is rather good, so cracking your ability wasn't too difficult. Wang Shi, upon hearing this, looked at Liang Yuan in surprise and said, I didn't expect Mr. Liang to be a spirit superpower user. Then he seemed to realize something, showing an enlightened expression. No wonder Mr. Liang could rescue his companions from Liang Hong. It appears Mr. Liang's spirit mutant ability also leans towards defense. Although he seemed to be praising, his words were probing what Liang Yuan's superpower actually was. One could say this Wang Shi's cunning was far superior to Yu Feng's. Liang Yuan smiled without acknowledging these praises. The other party could think whatever they wanted, he naturally wouldn't expose his ability. He simply said, luck just smiled on me. Wang Shi's ability could pass through the 28th floor, which makes the next step easier. Manager Qin, Wang Wedong and his group are our common enemies. If we cooperate to take him down, everyone will be happy, right? Qinjing's eyes glittered as she smiled. That would be great. However, Mr. Liang, Wang Shi's ability can only take 2 to 3 people at a time. With so many people on your side, some will have to stay behind. Liang Yuan nodded. Of course not everyone can go up against superpower users. We naturally need superpower users. I'll select 3 or 4 individuals from my side, and Wang Shi might need to make a few more trips. Wang Shi's eyes moved as he said, making a few more trips is not a problem. Qinjing said, good, over here, Wang Shi and I will go up, and Yu Feng will stay to look after my remaining companions. Liang Yuan nodded and suddenly looked at the 3 ordinary people behind Qinjing, smiling. By the way, I haven't asked how to address these 3. Hearing this, Qinjing smiled and introduced them. The older one is called Changman, the young girl is Yu Xinyi, and the older lady is Wang Feng. Liang Yuan looked at the 3. Changman was a middle-aged man around 40, with a humble demeanor, avoiding eye contact as if somewhat afraid of Liang Yuan's group. Yu Xinyi was a girl in her early 20s, not particularly striking in appearance but youthful, timidly hiding behind Yu Feng. As for Wang Feng, she appeared to be in her 40s, with slight wrinkles on her face, slightly plump, and greeted politely, hello, I am Wang Feng, everyone calls me Sister Wang. Liang Yuan nodded slightly, not seeing anything special in their appearance. Which was normal, mutant ability users usually didn't have any physical changes unless the mutation failed. So far, the only exception he saw was Zhao Kai's frost superpower, which turned his hair blue. No other special circumstances were discovered. Alright, everyone take a break, we'll discuss the selection of people going up. Please go ahead. Qinjing smiled as she retreated, bringing Yu Feng, Wang Shi, and others away from the area to leave space for Liang Yuan's group. Liang Yuan called over all mutant ability users and patrol team leaders. He first asked the patrol team leaders, did everyone make it? How many were lost? Ding Yan spoke first, no casualties on my side, everyone made it up. Zhao Kai also said, all those who fell behind downstairs were retrieved. I lost 2 people, probably swept away by the flood and unable to make it up. Liu Fei said, I lost 2 people. I remember one was an older man, and there was a lady. She felt a bit guilty for not taking better care of her team. From the start, Liang Yuan had made arrangements for everyone. Groups were reorganized under patrol team leaders. Song Wen held Liu Fei's hand, comforting her a bit, and then said, my side's intact. Then it was Wu Ying and Wang An's turn. Wu Ying said, Mr. Liang, no losses on our side either. Liang Yuan was surprised, smiling, well done. A squad with no superpower users and all safe was quite fortunate. Wu Ying quickly smiled, all thanks to Huang Han, her mutant golden python saved many people. Chapter 349, splitting into 2 teams, Yang Mai awakens to Huang Han quickly said humbly. I didn't expect Da Huang to be so good in water. Liang Yuan smiled and encouraged her with a few words, then looked at the huge golden python that was lying next to her. He touched its mind with his spiritual power, conveying emotions of praise and commendation. The golden python raised its head, lazily glanced at Liang Yuan, and then lay back down, very proud. Liang Yuan didn't mind, just smiled slightly and looked towards Old Ma at the gate. Old Ma sighed and said, Our team has lost 5 members. Kai's also sighed. Several of the elders are gone. Liang Yuan fell into a brief silence. After calculating, their team had directly lost 9 people due to the octopus monster's attack. At the place where the raft was docked, he saw several floating corpses, probably some of the missing members. This account must be settled with the people of Hanglong Building. Liang Yuan said coldly, his face gloomy. These people followed him out of trust, risking leaving the building to venture to Yangshan. Failing to protect everyone, he harbored anger in his heart. Ding Yan immediately said, Liang Yuan, I will go with you. We must make Wang Widong's gang pay for this. I'll go too. Zhao Kai said at once. Over here, Dong Yan opened her mouth to say something but was interrupted by Yang Shenman on the other side. Mr. Liang, we at Building 75 also lost 3 people. We have to take revenge. Zuzi and I will go with you. Shihezu and Yang Shenman both stood up, their expressions filled with anger. Liang Yuan nodded slightly and looked at Dong Yan. How is Building 75? Any losses? Everyone is fine, but a lot of our stockpiled food got soaked. Her eyes reddened, and she said aggrievedly. For the people of Building 77, food was paramount. They had gone through the darkest, most difficult times of cannibalism and valued food more than life itself. So the food getting soaked made them even more heartbroken and sad. Liang Yuan comforted. The food doesn't matter. We just found plenty to eat on the 24th floor, enough to last for a while. When we get to Yangshan and have a place to stay, food won't be a problem. Right now, people are what matter the most. As long as we're alive, there's hope. He looked at everyone and said, we must give Wang Widong's gang a heavy lesson, but you heard what Manager Qin said. That Wang Chi's ability can only take 2 to 3 people up at a time. Also, I realized we can't all go. We need to leave some superpower users behind to take care of everyone. My plan is to split into 2 teams. Ding Yan, Liu Feifei, Gu Feng, Shihezu, and I will go up. Dr. Yang, Zhao Kai, Song Wen, Dong Yan, Taoist Lin, you will stay behind to take care of everyone. As soon as Liang Yuan finished, Zhao Kai couldn't help but say, Brother Liang, why am I staying? I want to go with you. Yang Shenman asked curiously. Mr. Liang, is there a reason for this arrangement? Liang Yuan gave Yang Shenman an appreciative look. Dr. Yang, you and Zhao Kai both have strong attack power. Song Wen has some healing ability, Dong Yan can detect dangers in advance, and Taoist Lin. Yes, you can form a relatively perfect team. If you work well together, even ordinary superpower users will find it hard to harm you. Are you worried someone might ambush us? Yang Shenman quickly realized something and asked. Liang Yuan smiled. Hanglong Building is so big. Who knows what people are hiding inside? We're outsiders who just cleared the 24th floor and got a lot of food. It's inevitable some people might have bad thoughts. And there are probably not only people inside this Hanglong Building but also mutant creatures. You being here to take care of everyone eases my mind. Zhao Kai couldn't help but say. Brother Liang, let me go. Feifei can stay here. Liang Yuan was surprised and laughed. What, feeling protective? Liu Feifei, on the other hand, looked at Zhao Kai in surprise, not expecting him to offer to switch with her. It's clear that going up this time to deal with Wang Widong's gang would be dangerous. Brother Kai was reluctant to put her at risk. Liu Feifei was overjoyed and looked at Zhao Kai with eyes full of delight. Zhao Kai's face turned red immediately and he hurriedly said. No, I didn't mean that. But she's a girl, and I, as a man, would be more agile in a fight. Liang Yuan smiled and patted his shoulder. I have my reasons for this arrangement. Didn't you hear Manager Qin? Wang Widong upstairs has the phantom superpower. Aside from spiritual attack, other physical attacks are unlikely to harm him. Feifei's spirit maze will be crucial. She is our trump card for this attack. As for the other superpower users, don't worry. Ding Yan and I will handle the attack, Shihezu will protect Feifei, and Gu Feng will create terrain cover. But in your team, only your frost superpower can create an ice wall, which provides some defensibility. So be particularly careful. Zhao Kai finally understood Liang Yuan's rationale and nodded. Brother Liang, I get it. Don't worry, I'll protect everyone with my life. Liang Yuan patted his shoulder. Do your best. Alright, anyone else have questions? Everyone shook their heads, and Song Wen looked at Liang Yuan, hesitant to speak. She wanted to tell him to be careful, but with everyone watching, she didn't know how to say it. Chapter 350, Splitting into 2 teams, Yang Mai Awakens 3. However, Dong Yan was straightforward, young, and without many reservations. She immediately said with red-rimmed eyes. Brother Liang, you all must be careful. Liang Yuan nodded and smiled at her. You too, take good care of your little brother. I will. Dong Yan nodded happily. Alright, everyone take a short break. I'll go find Manager Ken to discuss our departure soon. Everyone nodded, dispersed, and began preparing items like protective gear. Taking advantage of the time when no one was around, Liang Yuan pulled Yang Mai to a secluded spot. Sister Mai, we are going up in a bit, but I'm worried about you. Yang Mai felt touched and quickly said. Little brother, don't worry, isn't Zhao Kai around? Liang Yuan shook his head. You're just an ordinary person who hasn't awakened any mutant ability. Zhao Kai has to take care of so many people, it's hard to look after everyone. Little brother, it's my fault. I haven't been able to awaken for so long. Yang Mai felt a bit self-reproachful and ashamed, thinking she had become a burden, holding her little brother back. Liang Yuan hugged her tightly and said. Why mention this? It's because I've always stopped you from facing danger that you haven't awakened. Enough about that. I obtained a mutated fruit on the 24th floor this time. Sister Mai, you eat it. Saying this, Liang Yuan quietly took out the human brain fruit from his inventory. He thought it over and decided it was best for Yang Mai to become a mutant ability user first. Otherwise, Yang Mai would remain an ordinary person with no survival skills, constantly diverting his attention. Moreover, as time went on, more people would awaken, and he would grow stronger. If Sister Mai remained an ordinary person, she would struggle to keep up with his pace. He didn't want to lose this woman who deeply loved him on the path of evolution. Yang Mai was taken aback upon hearing about the mutated fruit and quickly said. This. You found another mutated fruit? She looked down at the mutated fruit in Liang Yuan's hand and her expression changed. Ah. This fruit. Why does it look like this? This mutated fruit resembled a human brain, and it was indeed frightening at first glance. Yang Mai felt a bit scared and didn't dare to take the fruit right away. Liang Yuan comforted her. Though it looks strange, this fruit definitely grew from a plant. I picked it myself, don't worry. The way it looks might be related to its effects. This is very likely a spirit class mutated fruit. Yang Mai looked up at Liang Yuan, feeling touched. Of course, she knew the value of a mutated fruit. Liang Yuan got this mutated fruit and without hesitation gave it to her. This showed how important she was in his heart. Her eyes reddened and she said. Little brother, you're so good to me. I'm just a leftover flower. You don't despise my past, you give me food and a safe place to stay. I don't know what good fortune I accumulated in my past life to become your neighbor. Liang Yuan laughed. Sister Mai, I have my own motives too. Ah. Yang Mai was puzzled and looked up at Liang Yuan. Liang Yuan chuckled softly. After eating this mutated fruit, you will awaken a mutant ability. Your constitution will significantly improve, and at night, you should be able to last longer. Yang Mai's face immediately turned red with shyness. You. What's wrong with you? I was just feeling touched. You're so annoying. Yang Mai was exasperated but also deeply moved. Her performance in the bedroom had indeed been deteriorating each time. As Liang Yuan's constitution improved, it highlighted her inadequacies. She had considered suggesting Liang Yuan find another woman to help relieve the burden. But she couldn't bear the thought of sharing him with others, so she had endured until now. Thinking about it, if she ate this fruit and her constitution improved, she might be able to keep up with his pace. With this thought, her heart raced as she took the fruit and said. I'll eat it. Alright, I'll watch over you. Yang Mai picked up the mutated fruit, looked at it. She chose to close her eyes and sniffed its scent. Though the fruit looked frightening, it smelled like jackfruit, sweet and fragrant. She opened her mouth and took a small bite. It felt cold like jelly, with a slightly sweet and sour taste. After one bite, she took another. The fist-sized fruit was quickly eaten up. The mutated fruit had no seeds or anything left. After finishing it, she opened her eyes, blinked at Liang Yuan, and nervously asked. Did I awaken? Did I awaken? She spoke while repeatedly looking down at her hands and body, trying to see if any changes had occurred. What do you feel? Liang Yuan quickly asked. Yang Mai shook her head. I don't feel anything, Before she could finish her sentence, her vision blurred, and she felt dizzy. She immediately went limp and fell to the ground. Fortunately, Liang Yuan had been keeping an eye on her and caught her soft waist just in time. Sister Mai? Sister Mai? Yang Mai lay in Liang Yuan's arms, seemingly asleep, breathing steadily without showing any abnormalities. It seems to be taking effect. The mutated fruit is helping her awaken. Liang Yuan carried her, placed her on a chair, and sat beside her to watch over her. He was also eager to see what kind of superpower this mutated fruit would grant Yang Mai. Most likely a spirit superpower. Liang Yuan guessed. The shape of the fruit made him draw this conclusion. Time slowly passed, and about 10 minutes later, Yang Mai's delicate body trembled. Liang Yuan quickly looked over. Her hair started to flutter lightly without wind. Liang Yuan's heart skipped a beat. This was a sign of strong spiritual power emanating from the brain. He quickly understood that Yang Mai had truly awakened a spirit-class superpower. Chapter 351, Ice Goddess, Big-Headed Baby Doll Sister Mai. Liang Yuan stared at Yang Mai entering her awakening, suddenly noticing something was amiss. Yang Mai's body floated automatically without wind, her shiny black hair transformed into silver at a speed visible to the naked eye. Not only that, her temperament underwent a significant change at this moment. The gentle aura on her body quickly disappeared, replaced by an icy demeanor Liang Yuan had never seen before. He couldn't help but shout, "Sister Mai," instinctively stepping forward to grab Yang Mai. But at that moment, Yang Mai suddenly opened her eyes. Her pupils were cold as frost, her temperament completely changed. Simultaneously, her silver hair whipped around, dancing in the air. A cold spiritual telekinesis force shot out, like countless ice cones, piercing rapidly. Liang Yuan's pupils involuntarily contracted. This spiritual ice cone was similar to Liang Hong's spirit needle. It possessed extremely strong aggressiveness. He instinctively wanted to counterattack. But the spiritual ice cone suddenly stopped. Silver-haired Yang Mai stared at Liang Yuan, and suddenly spoke. Liang Yuan. Liang Yuan was stunned. The cold expression of silver-haired Yang Mai did not change, but her eyes softened with a hint of affection. She slowly descended to the ground and walked toward Liang Yuan. With a stunned expression, Liang Yuan watched as she gently lifted his chin and nodded. Her vision is good, her evolution is acceptable. Liang Yuan suddenly realized something. You're not Sister Mai. You. Who are you? He stretched his hand abruptly to grab her arm. However, just as he attempted this, an invisible telekinesis force directly trapped him. Liang Yuan's eyes widened, unbelievable. His strength value was as high as 14.9, Yang Mai had just awakened, yet she could control him with telekinesis? How was this possible? Instinctively, Liang Yuan activated the skill, Muscle Burst. Boom. 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 His heart beat like a drum, reverberating violently, his chi and blood surged rapidly, muscles bulging. His strength value doubled instantly. Boom. The invisible telekinesis restraint was instantly broken. Silver-haired Yang Mai's pupils showed surprise, her figure silently drifted back. Boom. Liang Yuan's hand grabbed air. He looked up angrily at her. Where's Sister Mai? Silver-haired Yang Mai looked at Liang Yuan and said indifferently. Interesting, your strength is quite decent. But, this body is still too weak. Listen carefully, standing before you is the great lord of the Ice Wasteland.